world of finance is changing, and the governments will soon provide clarity and bring more investors into the digital assets. This report takes us through an ocean of information, and on the page number 12, we can actually see $62 trillion of investments in just the United States of America will be ready to embrace the digital assets. As they show, you can understand $32.1 trillion in investment funds and $30 trillion in equity and derivatives. So a total of $62 trillion are being ready to embrace the digital assets. Now, when we fast forward to page number 74, in the section for virtual assets and virtual asset service providers, we can actually see many important factors in the entire section. So in this section, there is a bit of explaining to do, and we'll actually go through that. Now, when we move on to the page number 78 here, say on point 177, we can actually see some important points. Say they are talking about exemptions, right? And we can, as we read here, while in others, laws on the money transmitters have been interpreted or changed explicitly to include virtual currencies. So what is that? They are looking for money transmitters, the exchange of value. As a result, the largest virtual currency transmitters are licensed in the most states. So that is cool. Now the question is whether they are going to classify this as security and all can be dropped here. The question of whether it's a security should be dropped here, because as we read, there are things in, say for example, the next page here, it kind of clears us that you can either look at this as a one aspect for a CFTC or SEC or FinCEN, but one thing is for sure, there is a safe harbor. Like if we go through here, it actually shows there is a safe harbor for the development of decentralized networks in which a token serves as a means of exchange. So what is a means of exchange there? It's a payment, right? In a decentralized network. So we just read here money transmitters. So here they are talking about token that is a means of exchange, and just in the next one we have even more idea about payment tokens, right? So this is going to be so much bigger than we all understand, and as the investors around the world come on into this asset class, this is going to be so huge. So it's a means of exchange. For us, it's XRP, right? So it's a means of exchange, and we can actually understand it's much more than that, and it won't be going into SEC's security classification using the Howey text. Now, we will continue to digest these information from the entire report and the referred and cited articles in the same report, which gives us more information until the recent post. We'll understand them because this is so important. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you see value in the content, please do hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please support the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support to the research being conducted in this channel, you can use the link given in the description for Patreon and PayPal. And if you would like to get more valuable personalized input for your portfolio, please check on the Patreon link that can actually help you to gain more knowledge and insights about that. And if you would like to just support the channel without checking about other assets, we would really appreciate that if you can check out the PayPal or Patreon link, and you can support based on your heart. Now, jumping on back to the topic, we'll actually look at this particular area. We were actually talking about how they are going to classify this thing, right? So on the page number 75 here, when coming back onto the topic, which is the virtual assets and asset service providers, they first talk about the initial coin offerings, and they compare BTC, Ether and XRP. Now, it's not just they're highlighting three of these assets, in which two of them they have kind of already United States have already provided a bit of clarity, stating that are not securities, so you can kind of use them, trade them within the nation, right? But now when we see all the other things here, as they highlight, say, now we'll also have to go through the documents in which they cite here. Say, for example, on 170, 171, 173, they are talking about CFTC first found Bitcoin and other virtual currencies are properly defined as commodities. That was back in 2015. Now, back in 2015, we didn't have much, hell lot of coins which we have as of now. So you can't actually include everything which came afterwards, right? And then you have FinCEN's report, and even they are citing the latest citation by the DFS in New York showing the green list, one for custody and one for listing. So even that is cited in this because this article is even new, right? So here on the payment section, they are showing us that virtual assets covers a broad universe that can be described as covering security tokens, payment tokens, and utility tokens. Now, if we consider XRP as our investment and look at this aspect, we can understand the network is actually providing utility to all its customers. That's clear. It's crystal clear. And it's also a payment token. So now, when we talk about the securities here, as we read, securities token are those fall within the statutory definition of a security. So they talk about the HOVI text. Now, while payment tokens are those used for the means of payment. So security tokens and payment tokens are entirely different. And previously, we just read that safe harbor is being created. We have to keep that in mind. Huh? Safe harbor is being created for what? Tokens which serves as a means of exchange on a network, decentralized network. XRP ledger is a decentralized network. And XRP acts as a token for means of exchange. As we come down, it's payment token. You can say that. Now, that's just for the United States classification. If you look at Japan, they call it digital asset. So crypto asset, digital asset, virtual currencies, payment token, everything fits in for XRP because it's having so much diverse specifications in itself. Now, if we actually move on to the next page, say if we jump on to page number 90 in this particular draft, we can actually understand they talk about fintech, CFTC and the SEC, how it's going to give us clarity, right? It clarifies whether or not it's a security, and then it gives us an understanding that how it should be thought out. Say they talk about, say here, both SEC and CFTC have set up dedicated internal units to deal with fintech issues, meaning if it's a financial technology, a payment provider having substantial ability to change the payment space, they are not going to classify it as security and take it out of the market. The SEC Strategic Hub for Innovation and Financial Technology, that's FinHub, which was formed back in 2018 October, overlays the entire agency and can draw upon this resources from across the board. So when we actually look at that, the first one shown is blockchain and distributed ledger in fintech, then digital marketplace financing, automated investment advice, blah 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 blah. It continues. Now, for us, what we have to understand is both SEC and CFTC has their own units for this. Say, for example, Lab CFTC is from CFTC's side, and the same from SEC. They also have a different unit to look at the fintech. So at the bottom, when we read, coordinate their respective agency input to international work on fintech, example through IOSCO and FSB. But keep this in mind, when they look at the international arena, work on fintech, Ripple the company, XRP ledger and XRP the asset, and interledger protocol, how it's being implemented. There is no way that they're going to take it out and say that this is a security because it has that ability. Now, why I say that? As we go through all these documents, say if we actually go through this document which is being cited here, say at the bottom when we come down, they show you which is a security, which is not a security, and those stuff. And at the bottom, it's other relevant consideration, what we need to consider. And here, if we can read, although one of the following characteristics, I should actually enlarge this one, right? Hope you guys can actually read this from here. Hopefully. Okay, although no one of the following characteristics of use or consumption is necessarily determinative, the stronger the presence, the less likely the HOVI test is met. So these points, if we are getting onto that point, then it's sure that we won't be meeting that HOVI test. Now, in the entire points I read through this, just this one kind of, it doesn't actually meet XRP, the design of XRP. Because one of these points is talking about what the prospects for appreciation of value in the digital assets are limited, whereas XRP was designed as an appreciating asset in itself, with the burn rate reducing the supply, increasing the demand automatically by the adoption, and the price going to the upside. But if you look at all of the rest point as they show here, the stronger they present all of these points, the less likely they will be meeting the Howey test. So the first one, distributed ledger network and digital assets are fully developed and operational. Yes, even central banks are piloting, commercial banks are on, financial institutions, regulated institutions, SEC and other institutions are there. They are looking at the ledger, they are operating the validators, universities across the board. So it's completely functional. So that point is valid. Holders of the digital assets are immediately able to use it for the intended functionality of the network, which is payment. Cool, you can do that. Digital assets creation and structure is designed and implemented to meet the need of its users rather than to feed speculation. That is for clear, right? We understand that it was designed to execute that payment. Which other digital asset can meet all the criteria which XRP can fill? The scalability, the frictionless effect, the costless effect. No other asset can actually even compare or come even close to this one. And the adoption rate, which is kind of, changing the entire space. For example, digital asset can only be used on a network and generally can be held or transferred only in amounts that correspond to a purchaser's expected use. Now it depends, right, which is your use case. And there are other points. Now if you want to read through this, I'll actually put the description below. Now the general aim of this thing is to understand that we don't actually meet the Howey test, so hence it's not going to be classified as a security. Now in this one, digital assets with these type of use or consumption characteristics are less likely to be investment contracts. For example, take the case of an online retailer with a fully developed operating business. The retailer creates a digital asset to be used by the consumers to purchase products only on their retailer's network, offers the digital asset for sale in exchange for a real currency, and the digital asset is redeemable for products consumer priced in their real currency. So this is making it even clear that digital assets, which XRP is kind of mentioned here, it's not about XRP, but it's showing that XRP won't be there in that one. Now this is another document cited back in this original article, and when we come down to say on page number 3 here, we can see legal discussions. They talk about virtual currencies. Now this is an old document as they cited back in 2015, which shows commodities, virtual currencies such as Bitcoin are commodities. Now, as I told in the original document, that document is back in 2015. So we have XRP, we had XRP back in 2015 and other assets along with the Bitcoin and other assets. So the other new assets which came through will have to consider other documents instead of this one, and then they actually come and cite this for virtual currencies, in which this is the recent one we actually went through in the previous episode, right? So we won't actually be discussing throughout that, but what it highlights is they talk about custody, Ripple XRP, and then back to the entire topic here, they talk about they are closely monitoring the change, which is on the page number 77. If you actually jump into that one, you can understand they are closely monitoring the entire regulatory thing here, which is for the investment contracts and analysis of digital assets. Everyone is actually looking at this. Once there is a change in the regulatory side, meaning they will give you or us or those investors or agencies in United States the proper clarity, they're going to jump in, and that is for sure, right? That is one thing. And the next thing is they are going to exempt money transmitters and fintechs from putting out into all those regulations too much. They will consider as they report here, they will be considering the anti-money laundering, the basic thing for financial transaction. Rest is kind of cool for this kind of aspect: money transmitter, fintech, payment token, utility token. So we are there. Yeah, it won't only be XRP, like say other tokens like XLM, Quant, and others will also be in the same area of regulatory side. Now, when we look at the same side, one side we are getting this from IMF pointing out towards the United States, and this document from XRP Wolf actually shows us this is another side in Europe. Bank of France, new bulletin paper on digital currencies, from myth to innovative projects for means of payment and currency in circulation. Guys, this is really changing, and the entire world of finance is changing, and this is huge. Even if you believe it or not, even if you digest it properly or not, this one is really huge. We are seeing the adoption in both the geographical region. One is in European area and the other one is in American area. Now, Asia, Far East Asia is kind of, they are far ahead than these guys. So even China, if you look at them, they are way ahead from these guys, right? So that's cool. For us, that is really cool. Now in this report, if you actually want to read through that, you can directly go into Twitter and look at XRP Crypto Wolf, or I'm just reading that. If you follow me, it will be easy for you to find that. So they are talking about all the different aspects of digital assets. Now, it was a myth before. Now, it should be understood that it was a myth before, but now it's not a myth. And as he is highlighting about different currencies, crypto assets, you can actually see Ripple there. It's being named there, right? Now, at the same time, I would also like to highlight there are other things which has to be considered and all, but transfer of funds abroad, the downside for users, however, is that associated fees are difficult to evaluate. Now for us, it is not that much huge, because if you look at go into Ripple's website and look at the transaction payment fees and all, you can be clear now. And based on the other sides here for Bitcoin and Ether, as the network get congested, we won't be actually going in that skyrocketing effect of fees for XRP. And that's one of the advantage of this having that high scalability. Now, stablecoins decide to reconcile crypto assets with legal tender. Now, when they say stable coins, you have to understand they are not talking about a stable coin which will be, just $1. They're talking about something which is comparatively stable to others, like say Bitcoin, Ether and others. When you're looking at the volatility, you may understand that comparatively this is way better than others. For example, if you are looking at this chart and comparing it with others, you may understand XRP was comparatively stable in the total bull run if you take that total high volatility range. And now this one shows XRP based projects evolve out of Ripple launched PayID. Now we already understand that PayID is huge and it's changing the entire sector, right? It's enabling a lot of regulatory clarity along with innovation on XRP ledger. Now, many of these upcoming works or projects on this one is going to use XRP. As the title suggests, it's kind of self-explanatory, but what we have to understand is as we are getting these kind of regulatory clarity and regulatory side insights, we are also seeing projects being pushed out and they are going to be implemented as soon as possible. And when we see this kind of thing, what you have to understand is we have to seize that opportunity. As an investor, that's what we do. And if you are not going to do that, it's going to change. Why? Because this particular document, it's kind of showing you how the interoperability layer of ISO to when your 2.2 migration would be affecting us. What we have to understand here is the back office system. The existing back office system is going to be changed. Now we first have to understand Swift has actually delayed the actual implementation deadline, but the new requirements will have further impact on a number of existing back office systems. What did we talk in last couple of at least last 2 months full of videos? The back office, back end settlement. We showed you the couple of documents in last 2 videos, right? That kind of highlights fintech, banking and fintechs, and then the status quo, which is Swift. So the status quo is being kicked out and new fintechs is coming in. And at the bottom for the payment, they are showing Ripple XRP. Now, if you want to take it, you can take it. Otherwise, you can leave it. But this is the reality. Now, this tweet from David Loy kind of took my attention because, we all understand banks are not going to go away, but if they're going to adopt XRP and as the correspondent banking network is reducing, it's kind of forcing them to lower their fees and go into the way of customers, provide them better service or get out. That's something, the message being sent out to the banks. And as of now, banks have a lot of pushing power with their money towards the governments, politicians and all. So automatically they are moving into a way that the technology can be molded in some way on which they can profit. They're trying to profit. Now, the profit won't be as they have now. They are just trying to stay relevant and make profit. Now, it would be like, it won't be like what they have now, but it's for sure next 10 years, banks' role in the payments would be unrecognizable compared to all the innovations which we are seeing. Now, I also would like to take you guys into the charts. This won't be a long, detailed technical analysis. Instead, what I would like to show you is like a continuation of what we did in the last video. We are still moving within that pattern, and if you saw, like previously we told, there is a possibility that we may move in this, and if we are not breaking this particular area here around 0.3 and moving higher, then we may expect that the price should be coming back to around 0.28. But if we are to break this and move above, now this is on a 4-hour chart, right? The measured price movement in this particular time frame, say the 4-hour, should be like 7%. So take that 7% from here. It would be a move towards 0.32, which would be the kind of previous high there. So we will be having overhead resistance in that 0.2. Now, as we talked in previous episode, on a daily, we are making this flag position, which is kind of has to be eyed carefully, because we are having this golden cross here and a bull flag here. As we talked previously, if this is gonna kick off to the upside, you are gonna see an 80% rise from where we are now. That means if we are breaking out from this particular top, or take it from here, and 80% means about 5.54, meaning we are going to cross the previous highs here. That would create a support zone in this particular area. If we are putting a horizontal line in this area, 0.47 to 0.5, that would be then acting as a support zone instead of a resistance, which will give us an area to bounce off from there towards the 0.7 mark here. So guys, that's all for this special episode, and I hope you guys received value for your time. If you received value for your time, please do support the channel, hit that like button. If you're new here and haven't subscribed to the channel yet, again, please do hit that subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support, you can check the description below and see Patreon and PayPal link. If you want to support the research in this channel, you can use that links. Bye for now.